Awesome. Awesome. That's the way that you show up in that kind of game. Cool. Cool. All I could say is I wish, I really, really wish I was able to do the podcast episode earlier. You know why I wish I was able to do the podcast episode earlier? Because it's been a minute since I've voiced my opinion. And you know what I voiced last night? Proceed with caution. I voiced some optimism, but also some worry. And I left it pretty much saying, I don't know how I feel. Today, you know why I wish the podcast episode? Because I could tell you how I felt. The more I let this thing marinate, the more I let this thing settle into my system and really thought about what's about to occur down in South Florida. When I saw the pitching matchups lined up again, I said, we might be done here. And it wasn't to be negative. It's the reality that where do you go from here? Because that's the first thing. Where do you actually go from here to win the next two baseball games? Which it might not even matter if you win the next two. The Reds hold on tonight, does not matter. The Reds control the fate now. And even worse, you know how this gets even worse? I'll tell you how this gets even worse. All it takes is the Mets losing tomorrow and the Reds winning tonight and tomorrow, and this thing is over. Done. We can be done as soon as tomorrow here. Completing the collapse. But you know what's going to happen? I could tell you the script for free, even though you all know it. I'll tell you the script. I am not worried about tomorrow's game because they'll win tomorrow's game. They will win tomorrow's game, and so will the Reds, most likely. This thing's going to come down to the wire. We know how this movie goes. If I'm wrong and they lose tomorrow, whatever. Then just bury this thing sooner. I am okay with it at this point. But in terms of what we know is going to happen, they love the theatrics, this franchise. The history tells you that they love the theatrics. I could tell you right now, and this might be my just Mets PTSD, irrational fan taking over. I don't care. It's the truth. I know how this movie's going to go. I've seen it a billion times. It's going to come down to the wire. And it's fitting that the nail in the coffin might be from a team that you should have at least split a 4-game series with in August, and we're not in this predicament. You beat the Nationals like you should. Maybe you should beat the Nationals every now and then. We're not in this predicament. Hey, do you want to beat up on the Pirates maybe? No, we don't want to beat up on the Pirates. But remember, those were all just one game, right? That's all it is, just one game. How about next time you say it's one game, you keep in mind that this could be why it's more than just one game when you say that. Don't play with your food. And we're not in this predicament. They have put themselves in their own spot. This team is so bad, they got booed by their own fans on the road tonight. On the road, they got booed. I don't need to say any more other than they no-showed after that second inning. They had an opportunity in the eighth inning, which everyone knew. I think every single Met fan knew they weren't scoring that 8th inning. We've been trained for this for 160 games now. If your brain was not wired to think that way, then I I wish sometimes I could live in the delusion you do. Because respectfully, it is delusion. That's the only thing that could have made you have any sort of faith they were coming through. They don't win games when trailing after the 8th inning. Do we remember this? We remember that, right? Brett Beatty might miss the rest of the season now. He's got an oblique injury. So now we got to watch more of Mark Vientos. Or how about the great Ronnie Mauricio, which, hey, Ronnie Mauricio, you do not get a lot of playing time. Don't you think when you do get playing time, you would make the most of it? Don't you think you should be locked in and focused to make every single play, that every single ground ball that goes to you, every single base runner coming your way, cover the base, do every little thing right when you're in the game? Don't you think you would do that? No. Nope. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. Even in that first inning, I was disgusted that they didn't do enough damage. You had Sandy on the ropes. You get a leadoff home run. You get two guys on with one out. You don't come through. You don't come through. Or sorry, you had one on with one out still because Pete had the double. That's right. And then Soto scored on it. But either way, nonetheless, you had an opportunity here. And you know what the Mets did? They did what they do all season long. What have they done all season long? It's every time they have a pitcher on the ropes. Nope. How about you have your best outing? Because that's what they do. Every single time they get starters on the ropes, and every single time those starters turn those outings into pure greatness. This was the longest outing for Sandy of the season. To put it into perspective, after Juan Soto hit that leadoff home run in the 3rd inning, Sandy did not allow a hit the rest of his outing. That's how you show up with your playoff hopes on the line. That's the way you show up to the ballpark. And then that that 5th inning, Brandon Sprout allowing hits out the wazoo. And he's similar in the boat as Tong, to where I feel bad because of the fact that you shouldn't be in the spot, kid. Your president failed you. Your president of baseball ops failed you. You shouldn't be in the spot. But you know what? He did a decent enough job of battling back. The pitch count was still low. He allowed a bloop hit to Augustine Ramirez, and that's where they pulled the plug. I didn't agree with that. I gotta say, I did not agree with that at all. To me, I'm trying to let him finish the 5th inning because you have nothing right now from starting pitching down the stretch here. You are getting nothing. Tomorrow, what Clay Holmes is going to give you 3 innings? But Gregory Soto comes in, not paying a single bit of attention to Augustine Ramirez stealing second. And then Ronnie Mauricio. It's so much to ask for him to cover third base. It's so much. The guy barely plays. Just be kind. Give him a break. But like I said, he's not covering third base. And then you know what the funniest part about this is? After that fiasco, after Soto allows a single to Edwards, allows a home run to Connor Norby, and all of a sudden it's a 6-2 game. After that entire fiasco, what do the Mets do to respond in the 6th inning? Sandy sat in the dugout for half an hour. Pete Alonso, first pitch swing. Sandy threw a 6-pitch inning after sitting in the dugout for half an hour. What a horrible game of baseball. You not only played down to the Marlins level, you played worse. Played worse than them. Now this team lost their third baseman for the remainder of the season. And they have to rely on Mark Vientos, who put together a horrible at bat when he pinch hit. Brandon Nimmo, I praised you the other night. Where were you tonight? Where were you? It's just like Juan can't do it alone. He cannot do it by himself. Pete Alonso, too. How many ugly at bats did we watch from him tonight? Oh my goodness. 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. That's the way you show up when your season's hanging by a thread. This is why I say you don't deserve to make the play. This third wildcard spot race, quote unquote race, is the biggest joke I've ever seen in Major League Baseball history. And that I'm serious about. Oh, Diamondbacks up 1-0 too. That's great. Guys, they're fucked. They're fucked. This wouldn't have been a big deal if you just handled business against the Nationals or handled business against this Marlins squad earlier in the year. I mean, they have to win the last 2 games now. And the last 2 games falls in the fate of Clay Holmes giving you 3 innings and whatever Sean Manaea could give you. And I'm assuming that leaves a bullpen game for game 162 of the season. When I saw, like I said, the pitching matchups lined up, and when I really reflected it, I said it in my group chat too, and Matt could even point it out too. I said, I think we might get swept here. I think we might die here in Miami. I genuinely think so. Because the pitching matchups aren't in their favor when this offense is as streaky as it is already. The pitching staff in general, even if it was in their favor because of I don't even know how it would be in their favor, but they don't have enough good pitching to get by in these last few games. You had to win tonight. Sproat had to give length tonight. Neither thing happened. I'm sorry. I know last night I was saying, get in, get in, get in, which that was the wishful fan in me talking. But I also did say, with the sloppy habits, I don't know realistically, one, if you do, and two, if you get in, where you could even go. I don't know if I see it. And I'm giving my realistic take here. I'm not saying it because I'm rooting for it. I want nothing more than to be proven wrong. I genuinely think they are going to complete this collapse. Because what tells you otherwise? Someone tell me what tells you otherwise, please. Other than you are the only thing that you could really hang your hat on is that this team knocked out Yuri Perez in what was it, the first inning or the second inning back in August when Jonah Tong made his debut. That's the only thing you could hang your hat on is that this offense is bipolar and maybe tomorrow they show up. But the problem is the Reds win tonight and tomorrow. That win tomorrow doesn't mean anything if you don't win game 3 and the Reds don't lose it. And it just, again, it feels like it's going to come down to the last day. It does. But if this is going to end, just let it be tomorrow. Just let it be tomorrow for my sake, for my mental health sake. Let the eulogy occur tomorrow. I don't want to go into the eulogy a bit. Yeah, I don't want to touch on it at all until we're there. Tomorrow could be it, though. And if tomorrow is the death of the season, wow. I mean, the conversations we're going to have. But unacceptable. Unacceptable that that's how you show up to the ballpark, or don't show up, rather. Whatever you want to phrase it even as. But that's the way things go when you are in dire need of a win. Absolutely disgraceful. No, it's not great at all. And travel excuses, no. No. The Reds traveled from Pittsburgh to Milwaukee, and they seem to be doing fine right now. If they hold on to the game. No. The travel. No. This is why it's going to be there's going to be a lot of conversations tomorrow, potentially. Beatty's done for the season, it looks like. They're saying it's probably an oblique injury. He's done, if that's the case. At most, you'd get him back if this team gets to the CS or the World Series. They're not making the playoffs, though, so that's not a concern to me. Both will probably be back. Do they deserve to be back? No, but both will be back. I'm very pissed off with the manager and the president, who has a lot of work to do to rebound this winter. He's got his work cut out for him, and big time. to fix this mess. All they had to do is take care of business against the Nationals. That's it. Just beat the Nationals. Getting booed off the field by your own fans who decided to show up at an away stadium is crazy. Not to mention, Steve was there to witness it all as well. That too. Steve Cohen went down to Miami, and he has to hear fans that spent their hard-earned money to travel to Miami hear those fans boo his product on the road. Moral of the story, don't leave it till the last series of the season to take care of business. The Mets didn't lose the playoffs here. They lost it in June, early August, and early September, and parts of July. Because remember in July when they played the Reds, and that's another series you should have took care of. But you're throwing Alex Carrillo out there. It's like now Mendoza shows the urgency, though. If he just showed it weeks earlier, maybe we're not in this position right now. Maybe you scrape out a few more wins. But no. In terms of bullpen management, like how aggressive he turns to the pen, that is. I mean, how about them losing to the Orioles as well? They lost a series to the freaking Orioles. At this point, I tend to agree with this. Jake McCarthy hit a home run. That's awesome. So was it 2-0 or was it a 2-0? The Reds got out of their jam, so they just gotta seal it in the bottom of the ninth. Good for them. Mendoza is a hack. And this is why I'm pissed off with the president of baseball ops, and I'm pissed off. And this is why changes need to be made. Because you have way too many guys that are not good enough for a team that has one of the highest payrolls and is supposedly trying to win a championship. The clinching scenarios, I mean, like I said, the Mets lose tomorrow and the Reds win tomorrow. After, if they win today, of course, too. If the Reds win today and tomorrow and the Mets lose, over. I don't know if the Diamondbacks could still make it, but the Mets are eliminated at that point. That's all I know. And if the Reds win both games and the Mets win tomorrow, then the Mets have to win their last game and the Reds have to lose their last game. I can't sit here and complain about this, and I get it. I can't complain about this when they put themselves in the spot. I can't do it because I'm seeing that all over Twitter that all the Marlins, they're treating this like it's their World Series. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? The Mets don't put themselves in the spot. Wouldn't have a problem. Yeah, three dog shit teams fighting to get rinsed by the Dodgers. This is the thing, too. If the Pirates didn't help, the Mets could have been out by today. That's insane to think about. Absolutely insane. David Stearns failed this team. They have been the worst starting rotation in baseball. Yeah, and he didn't do enough to address this lineup as well. That I said at the time, you need to get one bat, not just Cedric Mullins. You need more than that for the offense. But they thought Jesse Winker was going to come back, and they thought Jose Siri was going to be some sort of answer. What a fucking joke. What a joke. This is my point that they don't deserve to make it. That's the entire point. My list is shorter than this. I honestly, we'll talk about it when the time comes, but my list is very short on guys who I don't care if they're back or not. Or my list is very short on guys I would 100% want to stay. And there are guys that are going to stay. So everyone else I really do not care about. It's like 3 or 4 guys on that list for me. Maybe 5. If we're being nice. Oh, Mendoza said this? Did he actually say this? We continue to make mistakes, and it's costing us games. Is that something that his fan base said about your mistakes, Carls? That you make mistakes, and it's the same mistakes over and over? Yeah, he did say it. Nice. Well, I tell you right now, we've said time and time again, you make the same mistakes, and you don't fix it, and you don't learn from them. All right. Interesting quote. Beatty's saying he's going to try to play through this if he has to, which good for him, but I don't want him playing if he's not that healthy. Mendoza, we got to win the next 2 and see what happens. I'm glad that's where we're at. But no shit. I mean, obviously you have to win the next 2 games, especially as the Reds are potentially about to shut this thing down right now as I'm looking over at that. So embarrassing. All right. I'm going to wrap things up here. We'll see what happens with the Reds Brewers game. Reds will probably win. Season could be done by tomorrow, though. And all I could say is if the season's done tomorrow, man, it's. I have no words. Like, the fact that it could actually be over tomorrow with no October baseball. I I'm speechless. They should be ashamed. That's all I could say. Every single person in that clubhouse and in the organization should be absolutely ashamed. I am glad I've been through 160 games, though, for nothing, essentially. I'm glad fans showed up setting a record breaking attendance number at Citi Field potentially for nothing. We'll see if that's the case. Talk to you guys tomorrow.